Alright, today Metal Bill is going to try to attempt to show you how to do an alignment you can do at home. It's easy. You don't need fancy equipment. You got a caster camber gauge, which is just nothing more than some bubble levels inside of there. Toe plates, tape measures, and trash bags. Ha! What do you need trash bags for? Well, I'll tell you what. You put them underneath the tires so you can turn them back and forth, and they actually slip, so you can actually, it's kind of like having turn plates. And so once we get the car back on the ground, we'll put the trash bags underneath the tires. What I've already done is remove the center caps from the wheels as well as the little grease caps, because what happens is we take the caster camber gauge, try to do this one-handed here, and it threads onto the spindle, and then we can take our readings from there. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up, and in the next video we're going to check caster and camber first. Get the car back down on the ground. The car's back on the ground now. I've rolled it back and forth a couple of times to let all the wheels settle, all the suspension settle. So what we do right here, we can take the camber reading directly. I want a 1/2 degree negative camber. I got a little to adjust, and the way you adjust it on these GM control arm cars is right here. There's some shims behind that orange bar right there on your upper control arm pivot. Add or subtract shims as necessarily equally on both of those bolts, and that'll adjust your camber. Caster is adjusted by putting shims either in one or the other, basically tilting your spindle back or forward. I'm going to go ahead and make an adjustment to my left and right camber. Come back and check those, and we'll see where we're at next. For the next adjustment after that would be caster. Okay, camber's set right at this point. 1/2 degree negative, so the top of the tire's leaning in 1/2 degree. We got it shimmed in the back. I actually made a aluminum spacer because you don't want to stack up shims that tall, and I needed over 1/2 inch worth of shims. So at this point, camber's set, and I'm setting up to take caster. Now ideally you want to do this on a level floor, front to back, side to side. We don't all have that luxury. So I've taken a angle gauge and I've measured that the floor is 1/2 degree out of level front to back, the front being higher. So that is actually going to affect our camber read, or caster reading, pardon me. Since caster is the angle that the top of the ball joint, the top of the spindle leans back or forwards versus the bottom, we got to know where the level of the vehicle sits. So first what I've done is set up the bubble gauge on the front wheel, and you have to turn the wheel through a sweep in order to measure caster. You can't measure directly without super special gauges to measure where the ball joints are. So on the left front, you turn 20 degrees to the left through 0, and then 20 degrees to the right, and you'll be able to measure your caster angle. They give you angles on this gauge that are 20 degrees. So I can take a straight edge, hold it on that angle, and it should be parallel with the vehicle. That tells me I've turned 20 degrees. Now what you have to do is adjust this vial in the middle here to 0 degrees. Now you're understanding why we need the trash bags under the wheels for a slip factor. So now I can turn through center to 20 degrees in the opposite direction. Let's kind of guesstimate it for right now. Take my straight edge again, hold it here. We got to go a little bit more. Turn the wheel a little bit more. And we'll hold our straight edge up here. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit. So that now we've achieved a complete 40-degree swivel. We take our caster reading now. Remember I set it at 0. A little bit more than 2 degrees. Positive caster. I'd like a little bit more, but with stock GM components, it's tough to get too much more. I'll see what I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and set caster, see what I can get out of her. But what caster does is it helps to center your steering wheel when going straight. What it also provides is camber gain in a turn. You can see that now the wheel, it may be hard to see, but it's actually leaning out slightly at the top, which doing a turn in this right-hand direction, that's going to plant your tread flatter on the ground in the turn. You want positive, camber gain in a turn. And then the same thing happens on this side. The top of the tire is leaned in now, providing a flatter track of the tread going around the corner. So I'm going to go ahead, set caster, and then after that's all set, we're going to go ahead and set toe. Toe is your final adjustment. Toe and centering the steering wheel. Metal Bill said so. We'll be right back. Caster is set. After going through the sweeps and of course making sure our level is level each time, I wound up with 3 degrees of caster, positive caster. And in order to get everything where I wanted it, I have to live with about 3/4 of a degree of negative camber, which is okay. A 1/4 degree more than I really wanted, but as long as I'm under 1 degree, I'm not going to worry too much about tire wear. So caster camber set. Now it's time to get the toe plates out, and we'll set toe. And simultaneously, get the steering wheel centered up. I got nice camber gain. I'm happy with that. It's a street rig. If you got good suspension, good tires, good alignment angles, you can make even stock stuff handle really well on the street. The street is it's not a racetrack. The asphalt's different everywhere you go. It is what it is, so you'll never have it all. For cheap, anyway. Alright, let me get set up. We'll set toe. Okay, toe plates are installed, and all they are is aluminum plates that are straight, parallel, and they basically lean on the rim of the wheel. And then there's 2 tape measures, one in the front and one in the back. And with 1 plate on each side, you stretch your tape measures. And over here we're at 72 1/8. And over here we are at 71 3/4. So I basically have 3/8 of an inch toe in. Too much. I'm going to try to get I'll shoot for about a 1/16 of an inch toe in. That's good for the street. You can go toe out. It'll be a little more responsive in the corners, turn a little faster. You also gain toe out when you turn anyway, due to the Ackerman arms. Ackerman arms, yeah, that's how you say it. Because the inner radius of a circle is going to be smaller than an outer radius of a circle. You know, in 2 circles your tires are actually tracing. So your inner tire needs to turn more, so you gain toe out in turns. So I like to set toe in for the street. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust underneath here. We're going to turn all kinds of sideways here. The tie rod adjusters are kind of hard to see. They're black. I'm going to go ahead and adjust those. Get the toe where I want it. And of course check my steering wheel centering. Can't stand a crooked steering wheel. So we'll get it all. It's centered right now. The wheels look, you know, it drives centered right now. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's centered when I'm all done. I'll set toe and we'll be right back. Okay, toe is set. I have 1/16 of an inch toe in now. Steering wheel straight. And as a preliminary check, you can sight down the sides of the tires and see where they land in relation to the rear. If they're in about the same spot compared to the rear, you're probably going to have a straight steering wheel when you go down the road. But test drive it anyway. See if the wheel's where you like it on various roads, you know, with different crowns, things like that. And then should you need to adjust your steering wheel, you'll turn both of your adjusters. You know, you have one on the left and one on the right. Turn them in opposite directions. So let's say if your steering wheel is pointing one way, then you can turn one adjuster to turn, let's say, this wheel out while turning the other wheel in at the same time, or vice versa. That way your toe will stay the same, and all you're doing is adjusting the position of your steering wheel. Anyway, it's that point for me. Time for a test drive. We'll see what she does. I'll report back with some results too. All right, I've test driven it. The steering wheel's straight. Awesome. It takes a little bit of practice and experience to get everything how you want it first time, but it's not hard to do an alignment. You know, just if you understand a little bit of something, you can probably get it done. But it handles great. It didn't go too far, just long enough to, you know, get some fuel and check and make sure the steering wheel's straight. I did an oil change too, so you know. So there you go, at home alignment. The equipment costs about 150 bucks, 180 bucks maybe even. Not much at all. And then you can put in any specs you want. You don't have to follow the factory specs, you know, I didn't. So there you go. See you later. See you next time.